Well, here I sit, broken hearted, paid a dime and only. Well, you, if you're as old as I am, you know the rest of that joke. If you don't know the rest of that, Google it. So today was the day that I was going to make the attempt to install this back into the Timberwolf. I was feeling confident, and I took it out to do a test fit because this nut sticking out had me wondering. And sure enough, when I went to settle it onto the axle assembly of the machine, this bolt pattern was not lining up. Like, it was off by probably half the thread hole, which coincidentally was about how tall that was. And I say was because I thought, well, you know what, I'll snug it in a little bit and see how I can get it to line up. I went too far, and now I can barely turn this by hand because I have preloaded the pinion. I think I've already discussed this. It's a few episodes back somewhere. Yeah. So thankfully, though, I know what I'm doing. It's just a pain in the butt. So I got to tear this down really quick, get the pinion out, or the ring gear out, massage the pinion out, reset the bearing, blah blah blah. Yeah. So be mindful when you're doing your reassembly. Double check your depths. Obviously, that's something I should have done. I skipped that step. I didn't realize that step. I don't know. But what I am going to do is I'm going to clearance the housing on the machine when I go to reinstall this, so that doesn't happen again. Yeah. Ha ha. Live and learn. All right. Cheers. Well, hello. Okay, so we're back. And got it pulled apart, put it back together, blah, blah, blah. Managed to get just a little tighter in and still have really good spin-a-thingin'. So I'm happy. I just finished putting the outer bearing and seal on, courtesy of my ISX piston pin hammer press 2.0. No, not 2.0. I got this from a fabricator friend of mine down at the coast. He gave me a whole box of random scrap bits. So I've got a bunch of cool stuff. Actually, this made a really good protector plate for the seal and for the bearing, getting them both down flush. I mean, look at that. That is gravy. And honestly, I sprayed a little bit of silicone on there. Put this down, dropped ye cylindrical death weight, and always making sure your fingers are clear or you won't have fingers anymore. And yeah, one pump down. While I had it apart, I also double checked. I didn't remember if I'd cleared this out or not. So yeah, that's good. Checked both the fill and drain plugs, cleaned the surface, replaced a copper gasket, all that good stuff. Now what I'm doing, if you'll follow me, so what I've got here is a set of rubber gaskets that are going to mount in there and act as a spacer, and also a gasket to keep shit out of here. I did try clearancing this, but I realized after looking, that metal ring I needed to make space for, yeah, it is actually right here underneath the bolt holes. Oh, my wife's chatting in the background. Please ignore her. But here's the thing, is I would have had to have taken my death pointer and gone finger all the way around perfectly in a circle several times to machine a groove in there, so that would have sat in there. I don't think that was going to go, so we've decided to use rubber gaskets. I still got to clean these surfaces, make them nice and shiny. There is an O-ring seal for that, so that's balls out. Yeah, I should have the diff back in this thing in about an hour or so. I'm stoked. It's nice out today too. Cheers. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome to my circus. I have belt sanded this surface, wire wheeled that one. I got to blow the metal out of there, obviously, because we don't want to reassemble that with a bunch of filings in there. I'm going to smear this with some gray RTV because, well, an O-ring probably can't fill in all these little pits. So if it does go through some water or something, water, you know, there will be egress. I was successful in the making of a seal for where the diff mounts to the trailing arm, right on there. I used silicone baking mats. These are retired ones that my wife was going to chuck out. And I said, hey, you know what? I can probably use that stuff. And lo and behold, hoarding it for a couple of years, I have rubber gaskets. These are going to help basically keep the nut from getting squooshed up against that housing, because I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be like that. The drive shaft coupler that goes up in there is about yay long. Yeah, about that long. Let's say 40 millimeters, 50 millimeters. Yeah, maybe 50 mils. Anyways, it's meant to slide up and down, so I do have some leeway. Yeah, leeway with everything. So yeah, we're gonna put the phone down, and I swapped in a stud in place of the bolt, because in order to get at that, it's like under there with the housing and the things, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna maybe make my life simple, or I might complicate it because there's already 2 studs here. We'll see. Yeah, thanks. Well, we're back. This is take 2. The first video I shot, I put my earphones too close to the phone. I had them out of my head, and I got a massive feedback on the audio. And now there's a plane. Anyway, so the where is aha? Sorry. Let's try again. Well, we're back, and that surface there is the well, that's where the inner seal goes. So I'm going to check the parts bike, see if the seal on it is in any better shape, or sorry, the seal surface is in any better shape. If it is, I'm going to be doing a rear swing arm swap next, which isn't terrible. It's like the 2 pivot bolts, shock, cables, and it falls off. Option 2, if the other housing is just as bad as this, is just a whole bunch of silicone. Because I mean, it'll still grab the seal. It's just not nice. Thankfully, though, the bearing surface where that rides looks great. I hope that's in view because I couldn't see. Yeah. So today I am going to start reassembly on the ATV's butt. So yeah, here we go. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes. Parts bike rear suspension arm, not much better. Zoom in. Yeah, it's actually worse than the one that's on the machine. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up on it. I think I'm going to try and restore this when I get my milling machine. I'm going to use that same product that I used on the axle shaft inside this bore. Yeah, clean that out. I'll pack it up, that stuff, and then machine it back to spec. Yeah, I mean, it looks like, possibly because it looks like they were prepping this thing up to clean it up. Thing I forgot to mention, although I might have mentioned it in one of the other videos, the previous owner told me that the bike I'm repairing right now was technically the parts bike that he bought to fix the parts bike I now have. He thought, shit, this thing runs better than the current machine. I'll fix it up. Well, it didn't really pan out because of the timing chain issues, as previously shown. Or to be shown. To be honest, I have no idea when I'm going to post that set, but I will soon. I'm getting into the hang of the YouTube stuff. So yeah, that'll be fun. That's enough rambling for now, because I'm basically going to go back outside with some more wire wheelie fun on that drill, and continue cleaning out this surface so that that seal will have a nice clean area to go into. And I am gonna load her up with some good old-fashioned RTV. That'll keep the goop out. And funny note, the whoever put the last rebuild kit in this thing, they actually had the seal the wrong way. There is a right way and a wrong way to put in a double lip seal. My understanding is you should always have your seals backside towards the area you want to keep clean. And these guys, whoever they were, they had pounded it in facing out. So when they ran this thing, like this is a sealed bearing that goes in here, when they were running the machine and that axle shaft had that slight bit of wear, it was allowing shit to get through there, pass through the bearing via the shaft, and get into the lips of that seal, and they just wound their way in there and just ground the piss out of everything. Filled the housing, much like this one, full of dirt and shit. Yeah, so assembly matters. As I think I have stated in another video, when you're reassembling components, you should always do it with the part numbers facing outward to help the next person in line. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Well, now we're outside, and there's a lot of smoke in the valley today. Wildfires raging down south of our border. Where I live here in BC is Kelowna in the Okanagan Valley, and we're only maybe a 2-hour drive from the US border. There's a big fire burning down in Oroville right now, and it's not good. But back to the ATV. I've got the inner seal properly installed, unlike the last guys who had it flipped over. As mentioned, I've got a little bit of RTV in there to kind of fill in the pits and shitholes. It's mounted in, so the face, you can see the so the face is flush, and you can make out the part numbers. Ugh. Here is our 6228 radial seal bearing. Ooh, shiny. And yeah, it's gonna go in here like so. Obviously I need to so when you're installing these, it's very important, do not put any pressure on this by itself. You should always try and install a bearing by the outside of the race, and well, inside, yeah, like have equal pressure pushing against these two surfaces. If you push on this, you'll basically blow the innards of the bearing out if you push really hard, or you won't know that you've slightly deflected the guts. You'll install it, you'll think everything is fine, it'll last for a little while, but it won't last the life that it's supposed to. The bearing cages in some of these are not all that stout, so they'll deflect, they'll run off, and even when you get it all clamped up, it's still, the insides are damaged, the bearing will fail. So yeah, just take your time, use a little bit of patience and some common sense, and it'll go in just fine. Yeah, cool. Good morning, how you do? So it's taken a couple of tries, but I've figured out the proper way, or the best way for me, with my tooling, to get these 4 bolts back in. That's a stud. I cut the head off because I felt like it. Anyway, So what I had to do is, first off, this heel bar here, I had to park it in that hole, or sorry, not that hole, because I can't actually do anything with it. You have to put it in either the top or bottom hole, because, well, sorry, put it in the back hole, pull back, put that bolt in, get that one started, get that guy started, then put the stud in. I tried a couple of different patterns and I wasn't having any luck getting the holes to line up, so that's the pattern, that's the way I had to do it in order for everything to go in without destroying threads and or cross-threading this aluminum housing and screwing it right up. So my next step is to torque all the bolts, and then I'm going to grab the axle shaft assembly, slide it in, and tighten these down. The brake drum I have in the wash tank right now because it was full of stuff. I really wanted to replace this boot. It's a water seal, so like, you know, if you go river crossing, if you go river crossing or whatever, get this thing deep in the water, this is to keep all the shit out of the brakes. This boot is like 85 bucks on Amazon right now, and it's just not in the budget. It is fairly easy to take all this off anyways, so when funds allow, I'll get a new boot, put that on there. It's for now it is what it is. All right, so yeah, we're cruising right along here. My buddy here in town has a set of tires that are going to fit these wheels, so I'm really excited about that. I got to get those from him hopefully in the next couple weeks. And yeah, and then it's on to making a new seat and a front bumper and stuff, and fixing shit like this. Yeah, we're making progress. I like it. Okay, folks, cheers. Well, folks, here we are at another small challenge. Putting the wheels on. Got these two on, no problem, but these two, the threads took a little bit of a whack somewhere in transit or travel or just storage in general. This one was the worst of the two, but it's an M10 by 1.25 thread. I managed to get it on there nice. So I just spun it back and forth with the socket. You got to be careful, obviously. Make sure that you get it on there nice and flush and straight. Focus, thank you. See how nice that is? It looks beautiful. I forgot the lug nut. Well, anyways, that's how you can fix them on the machine. If these were really trashed and not rescuable, fortunately I do have extra flanges. It's a pain in the ass to get it off this thing, but it is doable. So yeah, I mean, a guy could also just take and I've seen it done actually on that machine. It's got I don't think it's this end, I think it's the other side. Bolts are stripped, so somebody drilled them out bigger and put American bolts and went zzz, 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 tack welded them on the back to hold them on. And my neighbor has successfully crushed beer number 2. Lucky him. I think I might join him. All right, thanks a lot. Cheers. Well, folks, there she sits, off the jack. First time it's been back on the rear wheels in months. I don't even remember when I took this apart. It had to have been, gosh, May? I think it was just after all the snow left. But yeah, I got everything to line up and tighten up. Still got to attach the brake cable stuff, but I was just excited. Oh yeah, the strike guard, impact guard. I got to hammer out some really big dents in it and then reattach it. Yeah, my repaired axle looks pretty darn good there, I gotta say. Whoa, that's a little too close. Yeah, so hoping to get it up to my friend's place, bomb it up and down his orchard for a little bit, see what leaks, if anything. That's about it. Yeah, the tires are shot, mentioned that earlier. Do have new ones at the same friend's place, so I'll get that dealt with at the same time. Yeah, thanks for coming along. It's still a work in progress. We still got lots to do. I've got some, well, there's some wiring harness poodoo going on in here. Where is it? Yeah, like there's two random connections just hanging out. I don't know what they're for. Air intake tubing. I'm gonna hopefully delete the pod because that's just a mud suck, or any kind of suck really. Try and get the stock air boot back on, and maybe get some sort of air box filter set up, because ideally it should be in this area here under the seat, so out of the way of everything. You can see where previous owner actually went and took all of the electronics and moved them up here to get them out of the way of all the shit. And speaking of, literally the rear housing of this thing, it was filled with farm all kinds of hay and manure smell stuff came out of there. So yeah, I don't feel sick, so I think I should be fine. But you know, word of caution to everybody else that's gonna maybe jump in and make the attempt on this: clean everything before you take it apart. Definitely. Yeah, I might have got some stuff in my lungs, but I don't feel like I'm dying, so no, I'm great. I'm good. Everything's good.